Hi, it's Moni, and welcome to Mind and Your Business. Hi, welcome to Mind and Your Business with Moni Wilder. I'm so excited to be here today, and I say that every time I do one of these shows, but this time I mean it. So every time I've said it before, it was embellished, but now I mean it because I'm here with my friend, Tiffany Featherstone. So Tiffany is, now she's an artist. She's always been an artist, but she's a professional artist. She is are you still licensed?
Yes.
She's a licensed real estate agent, real estate broker in Phoenix. I know Tiffany because I don't think we've ever done a deal together, but we've been, we're both like badass women in real estate. So you kind of know each other, you rub elbows with like certain people. But today we're not talking about real estate because that's not what's important. What we're talking about is art.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Tiffany. And I just want to get into it if that's okay.
Yeah.
Just like
Let's go.
have a talk. So would you mind sharing just about you? Like, who are you? Why should people care?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's quite an honor.
You're welcome.
I'm really excited to be here and to share my story a little bit. So when I was 3, I'm just kidding.
Whoa. All right. Hey, we got about 40 minutes.
I won't go that far. So you probably want to know about my journey into art. So as you mentioned, I was a realtor and I've been doing that for 13, 14 years. And it was really stressful for me. I probably didn't have the best systems in place. So it started affecting my health and it was extremely stressful. I was passing out, I was having heart issues, and I had a team and I was training this guy to take over my business. And he said he was moving back to Florida where he was from after we'd been on a team for a couple of years. And I was kind of at this point where I was like, I can either find someone new, train them to take over my business, or I can just do what I was going to retire and do anyway, take a leap of faith. So I kind of was forced into it sooner than I was really ready for, but it was time. So I just decided I'm going to be an artist. And I was painting all along, and it was kind of my way of not murdering clients or other realtors. It kept me sane, It was my happy place from all the stress. And a lot of realtors were buying my art. So I had this kind of side gig going on at the time.
Yeah.
And I just thought, why not just jump in full force and take a leap of faith? So in January of 2023, I washed my hands of real estate and I just started referring out my business and dove in full speed ahead. It was the scariest thing I've ever done.
So that's exactly why I wanted you here, because I've never actually, I don't want to say never, I rarely meet people who've actually taken a real leap of faith. And I feel like the leap of faith is something that people talk about doing forever.
Yeah.
They ruminate, I'm doing it next year. It's always, I'm going to start next year. That's my goal. I'm going to do it. And they never do it. And, when I witnessed you do that, because I was around, we know each other, I was like, holy shit, she did it. So I think the thing that I'm wondering is, what is it? Well, one, were you always an artist? Like, how did you know that was the thing you wanted to leap into?
I wasn't really an artist. I grew up with a family of musicians, so music was kind of our jam. No pun intended. But we were always, I was in all district choirs I can't even tell you, from a child up until whenever I played in bands. My parents were in bands. So music was the form of art until I got to high school. And Miss Hogue was my art teacher. I decided to take an art class and it changed everything for me. I was just like, what is this? So I've always been creative in some way, shape, or form. And then when I got married at 24, I did not paint because I was married and I was having kids and there was just you just don't have time. You're busy with kids and raising whatever. And then I got a divorce we really are going through my life timeline here. Sorry.
Yeah. No, let's just do it.
But when I got a
love it.
divorce, I picked up painting again. And, you know, it was kind of my way of coping with the stress of being a single mom. And I was also building my real estate career at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's always been there, but I didn't, I wouldn't say that I was like doing anything professionally with it until probably 2015.
So it was always there kind of in the background, like your therapy or your me time, like the quality thing that you did to feed your soul. So at what point did you start to realize I want to just do this? Like, how did that start to unfold?
That's a good question. So I will be honest, I was never really a painter. I was doing other kinds of art, like, pastels and things like that. I wasn't really great with brushes. And in 2015, it was actually 2012 when I started painting kind of the way I do now.
Okay.
And in 2015, I sold my first painting. And that's when I was like, oh, people like dig what I'm doing. And then they just started buying and buying and buying. And that's when I realized this is a viable source of income. It's a second stream of income. So I was kind of treating it like that for a while until I was forced into, okay, I have to make a decision. Do I just do this now? Or do I wait for a couple more years like I was planning? I'm just going to do it now. And it was literally the scariest thing I've ever done. It's still the scariest thing I've ever done. I still am terrified. I still have imposter syndrome. But I freaking do it. I wake up and I'm like, all right, it's scary. Just freaking do it.
So how come you have it's scary, I'm going to freaking do it? Like, where's that coming from? Because a lot of people don't have that.
My therapist might be able to answer that question.
See, I ask hard-hitting
Honestly,
questions on this show, guys.
I do think you're born. I don't think you can. I don't think that that's one of those things that you can't learn how to do. But I think because I was a single mom, you have to have grit. You have to basically grow a pair of balls and figure shit out. Excuse my language, but you can't wait. Your kids are relying on you. I remember when even doing real estate deals and an agent would ask me to cut my commission and I'd be like, hold on one second. Hey kids, do you mind if mommy doesn't make as much money so we can't eat?
They said no. Do that. You did not do that.
I 100%
I'm doing
did that.
I'm going to do that. I'm starting to do that.
It was the best feeling because I was like, how dare you? How dare you?
Oh my God.
So I think it is a personality thing for me where I'm like, I don't know, I guess I'll just try it.
Personality right there. Okay, but that's wow. Okay, I love that. What I know, like just in my experience of you, is you seem like one of those people that has I will figure it the fuck out type attitude. So did that play a role in you even starting your real estate business?
Yes.
Like, okay, so how did that happen?
I got a divorce and I had to make income.
Where did you settle on real estate? How did that come up?
I was working for a company that was a boutique real estate agency, and I was the front person. I was just, for a job. Mm-hmm. And then they were like, well, we think you would be a really good realtor. And they paid for me to go to school, and that's where it started.
And then you built like a massive, honestly, this is a massive real estate business you built.
I did pretty well.
Yeah.
I did pretty well. Yeah. I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of how I conducted myself. I think I've done great I'm proud of me.
Well, that's good. But it's also kind of, I don't know, like you built something so big, you're making great income. And now you're making this decision to say, like, fuck it.
Well, I didn't have a choice. I was literally dying. I was having heart issues. My doctor was like, if you do not stop doing this, you're going to have a heart attack and you're going to die. So I had to make a change. It was affecting my health. And like I said, I probably didn't have the best systems in place when I was in real estate because I was the point of contact. So 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Oh, forget it.
Yeah. So I was constantly the only way I can explain it is I was in crisis mode from the minute I woke up until I went to bed. That's too much for one person. Real estate is not too different from art. It's 100% commission. I have to constantly get out there and get a new deal. I have to get a new gig. But for some reason, it's not as stressful because it's just me. And I'm not dealing with freaking they didn't fill all the holes in the wall, and we want a $15,000 reduction on the price.
I just have to tell you, I just got an email complaint from another realtor sent to my broker just as I was driving here, because my seller basically switched out the thermostat. So she had like a cool thermostat and she put back the old thermostat.
I want my Nest back.
Oh yeah. I mean, this other agent is emailing my broker like that I need to go get them a new, and I'm like,
I don't miss it. I do not miss it.
It's
high maintenance.
It's a very high maintenance business, but I didn't really think about the fact that the art, like your art business, actually it has some similarities. So as you're now navigating building your art business, are you finding that, do you have an instinct around it because you successfully built a real estate business? Yeah. So now you kind of know.
You can apply almost everything. You just transfer it over. It's sales. It's sales. That's what it boils down to. I just get to be more emotive about it because I'm sharing myself. I'm selling myself instead of a house or a product. It's me. I'm putting my heart and soul into something, and I'm talking about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, how I'm doing it, all of the things, which is no different than any other business.
But it is now authentic. So now it is probably a lot more authentic representation of like
100%.
How you want to be spending your time.
Correct.
So when you took that, so you said I had to. So you're like, I had to do it. My health was failing. Now you could have found a different way to relate to your real estate business. You could have fixed your systems, but was it that there was something in you that knew that like, no, I have this creativity in me?
I've known I was going to be an artist since I was a little kid. I've always wanted to be a little kid. I've always wanted to be an artist. I've always wanted to be a little kid. And a little kid.
Don't we all want to be little kids?
I will tell you, to come back to the question you asked me earlier, that fierce, how do you just decide? Children don't take a long time to decide things. When it's authentic, they know what they want, they do it. And when you walk through life with a childlike wonder, it makes an crazy impact on everything you do.
Sheesh.
You can end the podcast.
Okay, we're done here, guys. Thanks for listening.
Quote me on that.
No, but man, isn't that so true? So do you feel like then, did you get, or have you always had a certain childlike wonderment in you?
I've always been curious. And I think that also when you get older, I'm older. I'm old. I'm older. And I feel like the childlike wonder keeps you young.
Yeah.
Curiosity keeps you young. Curiosity keeps the brain stimulated, excited. And as I said, when I was in real estate, I was in crisis mode 24/7. Now, when I am painting, I'm constantly solving problems. Constantly. The tape peels, the paint bled underneath. How do I fix that? This is a $20,000 commission. How do I can't start over.
Right.
So you're constantly having to tweak and solve an issue. And that's exciting for me because it's not the end of the world. It's not, and it's not the end of the world with real estate either, but we tend to think that way. It's such a black and white.
I think it's harder when in real estate, you're dealing with other people's lives too. Like, yes. And when you're making a piece of art for someone and you are impacting their life too, sure. But I think there's this heightened, there can be a heightened sense of everything matters more because this is about where they're going to live, how much money they're going to get.
And it's such a giant transaction.
It is so giant. Even the smallest one is giant for them.
Exactly.
And then you can get kind of caught up in like their emotions if you're not careful. Mm-hmm. Or like if if every time you're picking up the phone, it's because there's a crisis. It wears on you.
I do not talk on the phone now. I'm not even kind of kidding. If my phone rings, I'm like, that can go straight to voicemail and you can text me because I am burned out. No, thank you.
Wow.
The burnout was real. And did you know, by the way, I'm going to get nerdy with some scientific stuff.
Please do.
Burnout is an actual thing. It's not like, oh, I'm just burned out. It's an actual diagnosis. And it takes 5 years to recuperate. 5 years. And that's from the day you stop doing whatever it is that's burning you out and start the healing process. What?
I know. So I did not know that. When I said I know, I don't know why I said I know, because I didn't know that. What I think is really important though is like, how many people are just walking around burnt out?
Look around. They're everywhere.
To some degree.
They're everywhere. And I see it all the time now. And I'm like, wow, I was that person.
Well, you can see it especially now because you're not in it anymore. So now you're like being able to look at it from the outside looking in.
Well, just when you're doing a deal with an angry realtor.
Yeah.
When you're doing a deal with, or an angry client for that matter, they're not happy in their life, but they're buying this house, and that burnout is everywhere. It's all around us. And what's cool about art is that it has been scientifically proven that just looking at art, just looking at it, not being an artist, but just observing vibrant colored art stimulates the same part of your brain as when you're looking at a loved one. It is absolutely a serotonin booster.
Like a therapeutic experience.
It is good for you. It's good for you. So I dove in. I was like, I'm going to swim in art. Give me the art.
Okay, so let's talk about you taking your leap. What was that day like? Like when you decided it?
I was so happy. I was so excited. I was so ready to make the announcement. I had so many things on the books, and I was just really, really excited. And I was trying to trick my brain because I was terrified. Like, no, I'm excited. This is excitement. I'm good. It's
the feeling I feel
cool.
isn't terror. It's excitement.
Yeah. And it was exciting. But what I realized is that I had a really huge ego. So I left real estate with 4 months savings, and I was like, yeah, I got this. I'm Tiffany motherfucking Featherstone. And guess what? That wasn't enough. That was not enough. No.
You just declaring that out didn't cause this rake in the commissions?
It was ridiculous. So after 4 months, I was like, oh, what am I doing? And I didn't have, so my first year I was a hot mess. I did not have the best business plan written out. This year, completely different. So it's important you revisit your goals, your aspirations, and all those things. So yeah, I literally flailed. I was underwater a couple times last year with bricks tied to my feet going, what am I going to do? But even still going, I'm so much happier, and I know this is the direction I'm supposed to go. What business person how long did it take you to take your real estate career from day one to money? It takes time.
Yeah.
And it takes time with this. And I keep giving myself that grace. I'm like, look, it's going to take maybe 2-3 years before I get to where I'm replacing my actual real estate income. That's fine. I'm happier. That's what matters.
Right. Because your happiness is worth something. You're alive, which is nice. But your peace of mind, your happiness. Like I changed from the company I was with to a new brokerage now. Now we are doing fewer deals.
But you're happier.
I'm happy. One, I'm happier, and my profitability is way higher, which is like, that's good
too, yeah.
But the other day, like this weekend, my good friend, she was at my house and she was like, you look great. Like you just look great. And she's like, what's different? I'm exercising less. Like I'm not like killing I'm just like, I just don't wake up with this insane stress every fucking day anymore. And the difference it's made just in 4 months is crazy. So like, I know what you're talking about in terms of that. Like
that makes a huge difference.
What is your happiness and your peace of mind worth? And sometimes I think, especially when you're in sales, whether it's real estate sales or art or whatever, you can really get caught up in like, I need to replace that income. It's like, you will, but do you?
I have no doubt.
But you're living now, even like now you're living, so it's like, sometimes I think when you're so burnt out or you're not really getting the fullness, or you're getting like the full experience of your life from something, now you want to at least make more money to kind of make up for the fact that you're not feeling whole in yourself. Mm-hmm. When you feel whole in yourself now, it's kind of like, hey, this is actually fine. Like I don't have to even make as much as I was, because now everything just seems better anyways. I'm not like grasping at money just to create happiness for myself.
I'm only working maybe 4 hours a day.
Right.
Like if I wanted to put the pedal to the metal,
you could.
But
it's a choice.
I have my priorities where I want them, and I'm good. My life is good right now. I'm happy. And whatever happens is cake on top of that. it's good.
See, that's a good
It's
place
all
to be.
mindset, really and truly. It's truly all mindset. It's just you have to wake up and be ready to go. That's just any business. You wake up and you're like, this is what I'm doing.
So, okay.
Determination.
So you said you made a business plan this year. So do you wake up every morning? Like, do you know when you wake up every morning, like I'm going to do these things, like I'm going to work on, so you've got this like planned out, written out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I have an actual plan for, okay, I want to, X, Y, and Z this day. This is my desk day. This is the day that I work on my website. This is the day that I'm messaging. Desk days are typically website and newsletter days.
Okay.
And then, so yeah, I have those systems in place now, and I have a structure, which is great. And it's a pretty loose structure. I work from home. It's great. I freaking love it.
Yeah.
I get to go sit in my backyard and sip coffee and
Type a newsletter that makes you happy to make.
Yeah, well, I'm listening to birds. Like,
yeah.
Life is hard.
Yeah. It sounds terrible.
It's terrible. Terrible.
When you hit that point, because you said you're like 4 months in, you had your 4 months of savings, and then all of a sudden you're like, what the fuck did I do?
Yeah.
How did you not, how did you not run back to real estate? Or did you go and do a couple deals to float yourself?
No.
Like, how did you handle that?
Well, I mean, when I say that I had the 4 month saving, that's just for art. I do have a referral business, and I am referring out my business. So I am making money off of real estate. I just meant I had this much money, and this is what I was going to use for art, and it ran out real quick. So I was fine. I wasn't dying, but it was, I was never going to go back and do real estate. So
you didn't have a feeling of like, okay, this ain't going to work. No. I just got to go back to what I know.
I'll tell you this. Who do you know that was a child that said, I am going to grow up and be a realtor? Nobody. They all fall into real estate, or their parents were in real estate. Nobody desires to do that. You're lying to me if you say that you were.
No, I'm just laughing because
I was like, oh my God.
My daughter says that she wants to, but she's grew up in real estate. Like, her mom's a realtor, so she sees it. But you're absolutely right.
Nobody wants to be a realtor. No. I didn't want to be a realtor. It was a means to an end. It was a way for me to be a single mom, have my kids, drop them off at school, pick them up from school, and still have a livelihood. And so I knew that real estate was only a stepping stone to something bigger. I knew it my whole time I was doing it.
Interesting.
And I stayed in it longer than I probably should have. Now I just apply the systems and the things that I was doing in real estate, build relationships, follow through, be consistent. All of that is the same thing with art. But what's cool with art is that my entire process of painting is therapy. What I do, why I cut the tape, why I peel the tape, why I pour and don't use brushes, why I paint what I'm painting. It all has meaning behind it, and it's all based on so I focus on painting things that thrive in difficult environments.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about this.
I am that. I have thrived in difficult environments, probably my whole life. So why not just put it out there and be this? This is who I am. It couldn't be more authentic.
How do you feel? Like, doesn't that feel exposy?
Sometimes.
Like, do you feel nervous, like sharing your art? Do you worry that what if somebody doesn't like it, or what if, like, how do you deal with that? I would feel like if I made something, I spent all this time on it, and I look at it and it's beautiful, and I put it out, like, what if they don't like it? Like, how do you deal with that? Or do you even worry about it?
I don't take that too personally, because yes, I'm putting my heart and soul into it, but I also know that the right people, okay, let me take that back.
Okay.
I want to work with people and paint for people that I like and that I want to be friends with. It's not a transaction for me. It's not about hitting a metric or a certain number. I mean, it is. I want to make a certain amount of money, but I look at my clients as people that I would have dinner with. And if you're, same thing within real estate, I don't want to do deals with hard, difficult people.
Yeah.
So if you don't like my art, that's okay. You're not my person, and keep going. it's like going through the drive-through and saying, would you like ketchup with that? No, you don't take that personally. It's all good. It's just moving on.
But if you were Heinz, Mr. Heinz,
but
he'd be.
Mr. Heinz could buy my art. I would be happy to sell him my art. I'll be happy to do a commission.
He is one of our listeners.
Thank you, Mr. Heinz. I look forward to working with you soon.
No, but I think that you're saying this and you're stating it as like, if they don't, if they're not for me, cool. But how do you create that? How do you have that detachment? How do you
find your audience?
Yeah.
That's the hard part. That's exactly the issue with art. And that's why you can go to any business strategist for art and you're going to get 45 different ways to sell art because there is no one way. You could focus on licensing. You could focus on commissions. You could focus on, there's all different ways to sell art. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting myself out there on social media, through my newsletter, doing art fairs. And the people who like my work and understand what I'm doing, here's the thing. Some people are going to be attracted to my process because it's therapeutic. You've probably seen some of my process videos where I'm peeling the tape,
you guys
kind of an ASMR thing.
Yes, the ASMR part where you hear it, it's like, oh, this is so relaxing.
And why I do that is because I was so stressed out. So a lot of realtors are like, I love going home at night and I just go on Instagram and I just go through all your process. It's so soothing. And I'm like, good. That's awesome. I love it. Some people don't give a shit about my process. Some of them only care about what I'm painting. Some people don't care that it's about things that thrive in difficult environments. They just like it. Mm-hmm. So people are going to be attracted to it. Some people are just like, I have a Tiffany Featherstone piece of artwork.
They just want to say it.
They just say they have that.
Yeah.
Some people don't care. So I just don't take it personally. And I just keep going until I find the people, my tribe, my group of people, my audience that get what I'm doing and want more of it. That's who I want. That's the struggle. The struggle is real. It's finding those people.
But you're...
Yeah.
This is my husband off camera and not on the mic who asked what question so I can ask it so they can hear.
She was always interested in finding her audience as opposed to...
Even in real estate. So the question is were you always interested in finding your audience even with your real estate business or anything that you've done in the past?
Yes. And I even went about my real estate business in a very authentic way.
Yeah, you did.
I was all about videos and I was doing video content back in 2015, 2016. Weren't you
so mad when everyone started doing it?
No, I was fine with that because then I wasn't the weirdo. But yeah, I don't mind standing out. I don't mind being different. In fact, the minute I am part of, I can't deal. I don't want to be like everybody else. So I'll pivot and go, okay, everyone's doing this. We're going to go do this now.
Yeah. Okay. So I was going to ask you about so the way that you're finding your audience, would you say it's fair that you're doing it by just really like being potently you, like just like putting
very authentic.
Yeah. Like just, this is me, and making sure that every single thing that you're putting out has that flavor, that vibe, that signature of you in it. Yeah. And that's working. And that's working for you. Yeah. I think that's important. Like for the realtors listening or anyone who's listening, who's building something that's a sales-based thing. I think hearing that's important because I think I do that too. Probably not as consciously, or maybe I think I do somewhat consciously, but like having your signature and not moving it. Like this is how it is. Agree. And like, so then if you gravitate towards it, now that person is easier to deal with because they already know how you are and they've kind of self-selected into your group. And I would even tell my clients,
first time we go out, you're going to see me dressed very professionally. By the time we close escrow, I'm going to be in yoga pants and you're going to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Because we're going to get real. It's going to get real.
I'm walking through these rocks trying to get this lockbox.
I'm trying to find the lockbox.
Yeah.
But I think what's important, and especially for realtors that are listening, you know how you go to those, oh my God, those content creation classes from some guru?
Yeah.
That whatever. And then you see, when did you make your very first mortgage payment?
Yeah,
and it's like
and
everyone's posting it. Why in the world?
How much did you pay for your first home?
Yeah.
It's like,
and how old were you?
Yes.
It's like, what are you doing?
Stop doing that, you guys.
Don't go to those classes.
You seem so lame.
You're not your social media wrong. It's wrong.
The class you went to sucks.
It does. It does. They mass produced BS. It's like such garbage. If you are not authentic, if you are not unique, you will not have eyes on your content. And the whole point of content is to make people remember you.
Yeah.
If you're doing vanilla crap that everyone else is seeing.
Guys, the calendar you put out every weekend from the title company.
Nobody's reading it.
Oh, there's a festival in Glendale. I'm glad I scrolled through Facebook and saw it instead of just looked at what I'm trying to find online.
Oh, here it is in this Canva
Thank
template.
God she posted it. I never would have known about the Rolling Stones concert.
Yeah. That's completely just esoteric. Who's heard of that band? It's so infuriating. So I cannot stress enough that authenticity is the key. So yes, it is scary sometimes to be vulnerable and to be me, but it is who I am. And if that bothers you, that is a you problem and not a me problem. Period. Girl, right?
Got it. You heard?
Tough Tiff in the house.
Yeah, I'm getting a little nervous in here.
Getting heated. It's a hot flash.
Hey, but I do want to say something on top of that. So yes, and it's about being memorable, but I also think going back to what you were talking about before, which is being authentic is a way to lower your stress. Like I feel like for me,
100%.
if I can just be myself, I'm not trying to do this impression of somebody else. I'm not trying to talk like somebody else, act like somebody else. It makes it so much more, I don't know. It just makes it feel like when someone reaches out, it's just this way more relaxed interaction because I'm not like trying to be something that I'm not. So it's not just about like being memorable or having content that people like to engage with, but it's also for you.
Yeah.
Like for you not to be every morning waking up and pretending to be someone
have to
you're
do
not.
this.
Yes.
Totally agree.
Okay. Can you tell me about, I'm glad we talked about that. I feel like we can move forward.
Okay.
All right. I want to talk about your art.
Okay.
Like specifically. So you said that you like to create and you like to create, depict, paint around things that thrive in adversity. Mm-hmm. So since we don't have like art here, can you describe like what people can expect? How can they find it? Where can they look at it? Like, I think your process videos are so fun to watch. I think people should watch those. So just like talk a little bit more about your art and how you create and all of that. Because I just think I think it's interesting when you talk to me about it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I don't use brushes. I pour everything. So there's a lot of tape involved, and I use an X-Acto knife to kind of cut away the areas that I want to focus on. I pour the paint, let it dry, peel the tape, and then rinse and repeat until the piece is done. For example, I did a cicada, and I like to say
bugs, like one of those.
And right now, there's like every 17 years, there's like a brood of cicadas that come up from underground, and it's like there's an infestation of them everywhere. So right now, we're going to hear a little bit more about those. But I always tell people, they're like, well, it thrives in difficult environments. What is a cicada? And I'm like, well, it lives underground for 17 years. Then it climbs out of the ground, crawls up a tree, pulls itself out of its shell, screams for 2 months, lays eggs and dies. If you cannot relate to that, you're not my people.
It's like my Thursday night.
Exactly. I just think it's so funny because I'm like, cicadas are
and they
amazing.
leave their little weird little dried shells on the those are cool. Yeah.
It's trippy. So that, I find some way to relate, a saguaro cactus, it's constantly being abused. Holes are drilled in it by birds. It's a cactus hotel, essentially. They're constantly animals living in and out of it. It endures 120 degree temps.
The frost.
It takes 80 years to grow one arm. They grow 4 stories tall.
Is that true? 80 years?
Yes.
Dang.
They're an incredibly resilient plant. Tell me how that's not thriving through a difficult environment or through some kind of adversity. Like, that's just so inspiring to me. You can do this. If a saguaro can do it, you can do it too. So I just I pull from nature, and nature's my happy place. So I pull from nature, and that kind of brings me back to center. And a lot of my art focuses on desert landscapes, botanicals, critters, things like that in the Southwest. Not necessarily Arizona, but I've done Joshua Tree, things like that. So that's kind of my subject matter. And how I got into it was I was pouring, like you've seen people put the cup of paint and then they pick it up and it oozes all over the canvas. That's kind of how I started.
Okay.
And in 2012, I don't know if you're familiar with the band Alt J.
No.
But I
only
love
listen
them.
to hip hop. I'm just
Okay.
kidding.
I like hip hop too, but
I know you
Alt
do.
J had an album come out and their album cover was this incredible visual that I was like, I want to paint that. I want to figure out how to paint that. And later I realized it was just an aerial shot of a river with like that iridescent oil kind of color on it. So I was like, I want to do that. So that kind of led me down this path. And then I was doing a bunch of abstracts. Then I wanted to go from that into making something that people could recognize. And I just started incorporating tape. So that's how I got to where I am now. That's the process of how I got to where I am today.
Okay. So do you see do you see yourself continuing to evolve in this where you're wanting to try others? So
100%.
What do you think? Like, what do you think in your future?
I'm already moving on to other things for sure. Yeah. Like,
are you able to share?
Yeah, I can share some.
Okay.
So I've worked with resin in the past and I'm going to start incorporating resin again, but
resin, for those of us who don't know, like me,
epoxy,
is
clear, thick. Okay. So
the stuff that a bug is suspended in?
Yes.
The cube?
Exactly that. And that is exactly what I want to do.
What?
Not necessarily a bug, but that I want to make blocks where people can put them in a bookshelf or something. And it's just a little more
cool.
So maybe it's a cactus or maybe it's, I don't know. I'm playing with some ideas. But I'm going to start incorporating some more resin and possibly collage, which was something I did back in high school. It was kind of a big deal for me. So there's some ideas that I'm toying with that will continue to evolve in addition to what I'm still doing. So yeah, I hope I never get stuck in one way. That's boring. I have to constantly evolve. Who wants to do that? Be the same all the time. Ugh.
God, it's so cool. So are you doing all of this at your house?
Yes. It's lonely. I'm not going to lie. That's probably the one thing that was the hardest adjustment was going from such a busy life to being at home. I'm like, oh, I need people. So I have to leave and be around people every day or else I'll lose my mind. I can't. My cats are like, are you kidding? Would you stop talking to me?
Hey, leave us alone. We're
like,
cats.
We're done. Stop talking to us, you weird lady.
Okay. Well, how is it that people can see your art and how is it that they can buy it? So obviously, people should buy your art. I feel it's obvious.
Yeah.
Where can they take a look at it? Where can they just watch you create? Like, where can they connect with you?
I'm on
your
all the
newsletters
socials.
are awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Where can they sign up? Like, what is it?
So my website, tiffanyfeatherstone.com. That's the best place to find what I'm up to the most recently. You can sign up for my newsletter there. You can ask me questions there. You can ask me for commissions and hire me to do custom artwork, etc. I'm on all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, not Twitter. What's the other one?
Are you still doing
Threads?
Are you still doing Threads?
Yeah.
Do you know how how is Threads?
It's weird.
I'm on it too.
I'm kind of over Meta, to be honest. I don't know if that's going to be a problem.
That's our primary sponsor, but it's
I guess
all right.
I'm gonna get booted.
We'll edit that out.
Yeah.
No,
I
just
think
kidding.
Meta is, so what they're doing is they're
Meta, Facebook, and
Instagram, and Threads.
Okay.
So they're harvesting all of our data and all of our images to make AI smarter. And there's no way to opt out of that. So I'm having a problem with that and I'm pulling away from Instagram, not to mention their algorithm sucks. It's the worst. They're no longer, what's the point of having followers? Because
if they don't see your stuff.
They're not pushing it out to your followers.
Yeah,
There's no incentive to have followers because people are just consuming. They're scrolling. So anyway, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok. I'm on all the things.
Okay.
Tiffany Featherstone. Just look me up.
Okay. And are you still doing Tiff Talk?
I do Tiff Time.
Tiff Time.
And those are on my Instagram. I post those. They're fun. It's just kind of more of like a real moment with me and my tiny mic.
I think those are, the tiny mic. The tiny mic cracks me up. It's great. All right. Well, is there anything else you want to share before we sign off?
I'm open for commissions.
Yeah. Guys, she can create for you. I mean, if you go and take a look at her stuff, you're going to be blown away.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you were here. Thank you for just talking to us and telling us like the incredibly brave story of just saying like, fuck it, I'm pursuing my dreams. But I think it's heroic.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad
That's
that
really
you're here.
sweet. I appreciate it.
All right.
I appreciate the invitation, and I don't know what else to say.
All right, we're done. I feel like we're done. So, hey, thanks guys for watching and listening. Bye.